Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's Business Spotlight. I'm your host today, Todd Rodden. I'm a certified executive and business coach. I own Aspire Action Coach based here in Southwest Ohio. If we're new to the series, we're thrilled to have you join us. You're going to love this. This is an entrepreneur, a proven entrepreneur in the region. We're thrilled to have Dave Ebbesmeyer here with us. Dave is the co-owner, one of the founders of AI Software. They really are a leading provider of not only building but managing websites targeting small and mid-sized businesses. And he's going to tell you more about that journey and what makes him stand apart. So, again, if you're new to the series, we're thrilled to have you. I hope you hit the subscribe button so you can receive future messages like you're going to hear from Dave today. So, without further ado, Dave Ebbesmeyer, AI Software, welcome to the spotlight. If you could be so kind, take a minute, tell us a little bit more your background and how you started the business and why web design
Oh yeah.
management.
Yeah, sure thing, man. Thanks for having me, Todd. I'm Dave Ebbesmeyer. The company's called AI Software. It does not stand for artificial intelligence, although we get that question a lot. Me personally, I started my career in the late 90s after graduating college at LexisNexis. I worked for another large company after that, and I didn't want to wear a suit every day. So we started a company. I mean, there's more to it than that, but that's a good soundbite. But yeah, I was always kind of wanted to do my own thing. The story I tell sometimes is the company I was working for. I came back about 20 minutes late on my lunch break from a dentist appointment, and I got written up. And I realized corporate life wasn't for me. I was only an employee for a couple of years before starting the business. But it wasn't for me. I was the guy that would come in on weekends and help the guys get proposals. I was a marketing director, and I'd stay late if I had to. I never got a bonus or overtime or anything like that. But when I did come back late from a dentist appointment and I got written up, I was kind of like, yeah, I left a bad taste in my mouth, which it kind of got us into I put in my mind if I'm ever in charge, I'm going to be a lot more flexible than that. And we are there's in our company, it's everybody gets flex time, no one punches the clock, everyone works on their schedule, and they're just held accountable by the goals that we have, which is for the right people. It just makes for a cool environment. So
If you could maybe take a little bit, talk about the services that you
oh
provide and
yeah.
who like might be a ideal
Yeah,
client so
yeah.
that somebody who's listening to this would know to reach out to you guys.
Yeah, we're a little unique. We've changed and grown over the years. This is what year 23, I think. But for the past 6 or 7 years, we've been really consistent in our offering, which is we build and manage websites, typically for small and mid-sized businesses. We don't really silo it into business types. We have a few of those silos that we have a lot of clients in. We serve about 400 and probably 30 or 440 clients right now. And we manage over 500 websites because, some clients will have more than one website with us that we manage. So the interesting thing about our service is that we do everything that a client needs for $499 a month, basically. Host the website, back it up, warranty it. They're actually all insured under our policy, and then any changes and modifications they want. So our tagline is we landscape your web presence. It is very much that setup. A client, unless there's a special project, and most of those are contained in that flat fee, it's a unique offering. Most people still do time and material billing, but we found this to be good, especially for the small and mid-sized companies who don't want that budget fluctuation every month. Our model saves about $1,600 a year. We studied it a couple years ago. But more importantly, we function as an employee would. Our clients have an email that they send. Our help desk returns, we close tickets 88% of the time in a day or less. So very fast, very efficient. We're real service oriented. Um, and then we build awesome websites too. If you go to our website, just aisoftwareinc.com, you can look at a ton, hundreds of them. And we do a really good job there. But a lot of people build websites. Of course, we're the best, right? I've got to say, but not many people have that support structure in place the way we do. And it's taken a while to get where it is, but our clients love it. Creates a great relationship with them. We truly do work with them as not so much of a vendor, like they just trust us as they would an employee, and I really like that.
Is there certain industries you focus in, or you kind of run the gamut?
We can pretty much work for anyone. It's more demographic based than industry based, where I say like 50 million and under. It really doesn't matter how many employees. But I would say that there are some industries that we have a lot of concentration in. One would be nonprofits, tons and tons of nonprofit clients. Probably my favorite is the Cincy hat. It was Ted Karras, the center for the Bengals, and you see those hats always, and that's a fun one. But a lot of folks making a huge difference in the communities that we serve. We only have an office in 4 states, but we have clients in, I think, 37 or 38 states at this point. Nonprofits are a big one. What we call non-hospital medical is huge for us. So, like, we are not probably going to do a project for like St. Elizabeth or Jewish Hospital or one of those, but we will do like OrthoCincy is one of our big clients, a lot of plastic surgery groups, cosmetic dentists, those types of dermatologists, those kind of groups. Lots of financial services, so financial planners, and those around that, HR companies and things like that, professional services, you might call that, tons in there. And then and this is probably the largest group of like home-based services. So like HVAC, plumbing, electricians, those types of service, home improvement, lots and lots of those, and then everything in between. But yeah, those would be kind of for the groups. But we've probably got somebody in every industry if I looked.
Now, do you also then support them beyond the website with other like social media efforts, or you stick to
Yeah.
that
So
core
we,
competency?
we don't do social media anymore. We have a very, very strict offering because when we pivoted to this, we used to do social media and all kinds of different internet marketing, but we wanted to focus on something and do it very, very well. And we do. And I'll be honest, we didn't when we first started, but we've really, really made some strides and reinvested a lot to make sure that we're the best in class. So, yeah, I'm sorry. Tell me the question again. I got off track.
Yeah, well, we talked about, hey, obviously you got this core competency around website build and manage, right? Especially the manage piece. But do you also reach out into things like
Oh,
social
yeah, yeah,
media
yeah.
and other marketing things
Yeah.
that no, hey, you
So
stick to your knitting and to your strengths, it sounds like.
we do, but there is one thing that I would mention. So included in our standard offering is we do manage the Google business profile for our clients, and that's becoming more and more important these days. So as an
Mhm.
answer to SEO, which a lot of people have search engine optimization, which is now changing a ton, especially with AI, you're going to hear answer engine optimization, generative engine optimization, all kinds of different things. We branded our own product called GAS. We call it Google algorithm signaling because no matter what, if you're signaling the Google algorithms, you're going to be successful. So, as part of our offering, anytime we make an update to the website, we make that same update to our client's Google business profile. What that does is it signals Google that the company is active, and we assist them in helping them get reviews and things of that nature too. And we'll build the Google business profile when we engage a client to make it better. But on an ongoing basis, keeping those updates consistent does signal Google that the company is active. And above all else, in 2026, that's what Google likes the most. So that the old way of doing SEO we found is less and less effective. In fact, some of the old tactics will get you in trouble. But this is what we found. These are natural updates. They're not BS. They're actually things that are going on in the company. Google loves that. So then that's about as far as we go. But we have a huge network of folks we've been working with. Some relationships do span back to when we started the company back in the early aughts. So when we have a client, that's another reason why we want to stick to what we're really good at. When we have a client with a need, we can usually pair them with somebody who we've worked with in the past, we trust, they're vetted. And so when they need that additional marketing support, we can plug in. They don't have to use our folks, but most of our clients are like, I don't know who to use. And then so we can create programs for them with the right people. Because a marketing company that does well for, let's say, like a roofing company is not necessarily the company that does the best for, a large medical group or something like that. So we can help with that, and it's cool. We've got a lot of really great relationships, lots of good folks in our Rolodex that we're happy to refer.
Well, I love it. I love it when the businesses have really figured out their niche, hey, and then their
Mhm.
swim lanes, and then they stick to that, right, and do that really well. So,
Yeah, well, early in the early days, we were a one-stop shop but there was a lot less going on the internet. And it is really hard to find a true one-stop shop these days. In fact, I don't really know any. And as cool as that would be to market it that way, I would rather do the honest thing and be like, look, we're super good at this. And then let's bring these folks in and they're super good at marketing for, orthopedic groups or something like that. Because internet's big these days. I mean, there's a lot to it. It's hard to keep your arms around it. So we
Yeah.
we we focus in on what we know we're going to crush.
Yeah. And always changing. So.
Yes, correct.
So, so just 23 years in to
That's
running the
it.
business, had significant growth. You talked about, over 500 sites, 400 plus clients.
Mhm.
So, what have been, as you look back, what have been some of the keys to that growth? Any particular marketing strategies for yourself, or what have been some of the
Mm.
unlocks that have helped you scale?
Man, I will give credit where credit's due. I spent about 10 years in the entrepreneurs organization called EO. I think the eonetwork.org is the website. And boy, that helped a lot. That got me plugged into some folks who were further along in their journey, and I got to learn a lot from them. Couldn't say enough good about that particular organization. And I mean, and then really, what's the quote? Failure's the greatest teacher. I mean, we've tried everything, we failed a lot. We've learned from, I think, most of it, hopefully all of it. But we started when the internet was, I mean, I graduated college in 1998 and I didn't have an email address until 1998. I didn't have a phone until 2001. So like we started in '03. So we've kind of seen the progression. And what's interesting is now that everybody's wound up about how AI is going to affect the landscape of the internet, we already know because we've seen it before. We haven't seen AI, but when we started, there was no social media. When we started, you didn't even use Google. People were using Yahoo Ask Jeeves, if you remember those, Alta Vista
Netscape.
search. I'm dating myself. I'm dating myself, but we've seen it. So I guess the main like the experience has taught us, and there's no manual for this. This isn't like starting a company where there's 30 or 100 years of history on how to do it. There was none. So back in when we started, everyone was just kind of trying to figure it out. So we had a lot of lean years, a lot of lean years and a lot of years where we didn't know what the hell we were doing. But we always figured it out. And I think that the greatest teacher, the best lessons I have is failure that hurts. And when I say hurts, means is expensive. So those mistakes, if every time our back was against the wall, we came out better, came out stronger, we came out more innovative. And now we're at the point, 20 some years in, where we don't get stumped. We've had experience in that. So if there are challenges, we're able to not only we don't have to pivot, we kind of know what to do. So now, unfortunately, I've heard it said, as soon as you get experience, you don't need it. So that would be the main thing that we've been able to hopefully learn from and get sharper every time.
There a particular example that jumps out of one of those challenges that when
Yeah.
I realize, hey, we got to pivot, man.
I'll give you a great example. So there's kind of two. So we used to quote websites on an individual basis. So I or a sales rep would go in and meet with somebody. Hey Todd, what do you need? Boo boo. I take notes. I take notes. Okay, cool. Give me a week. I'm going to get back. I'm going to figure out, how much this is going to cost. Well, what we found is a lot of times we come back a week later and they found a different vendor, or they decided the project isn't that important, or we would quote it way high or way low. So somebody would lose, right? And I don't like when people lose. So we standardized our pricing about 10 years ago. And now that's evolved. So if you look at our website, you need a website. It's broken down into three buckets. There's a price for websites that are 1 to 20 pages. There's a price for websites that are 21 to 50 pages, and then there's a price for websites that are 51 to 100 pages. So that is one way that we really tightened our offering. And now if someone's like, how much is a website? We just do a page count and we can tell them right away. That was a big learning experience. The fear was we're going to leave money on the table. The fear was we're going to quote way lower. We're not going to know, but we're so sharp at this. We're so good at it these days. we know what it takes to do a 20-page website. And I think that it shows our customers that we're good in a non-direct way. It's like, yes, we know what to charge. We don't have to guess. I think if you have to guess, you don't know it as well. So that was a big one. And then along those lines is standardizing our offering. So we used to give our clients a menu and say, what do you want to do? You want to do social media? You want us to do your Google business profile? You want us to host it? You want somebody else to host it? All that. And then so everyone was paying a different price. It made it very impossible to manage. So we streamlined that. It's $4.99 a month. It's everything you want. And frankly, it's more than a lot of clients need, but that price point is a fraction of what comparable companies are charging. So you get a lot more. It's kind of like Netflix. I don't watch everything on Netflix, but it's there if I need it. So that fixed pricing has been huge for us. It helps manage the business better. More importantly, it creates a fixed line item for my clients who are small and mid-sized businesses. Typically, they don't want a variable expense. I own a small business. I don't want variable expenses. And the last thing that our clients want is, oh, that wasn't included. That's an extra $1,200, $1,500, $1,800, whatever. So that the standardized pricing, I didn't realize it at the time, has made the biggest difference. I think it gave us a lot of credibility. It made a business easier to manage, and most importantly, it makes the clients happy. So without them, we don't got anything. So.
Uh, uh, Great. Thank you for sharing that particular example. Actually, a couple examples
Yeah.
within there. Now, as you look forward, what's a challenge you guys are looking at right now? Maybe you currently got your arms around it, or you see it coming down the horizon.
Yeah, so the biggest challenge is I want 3,000 clients, and right now we have 400. So I was talking to an attorney friend of mine, and he said, well, you're never going to do that if you only got 400 after 20 some years. We will see about that. So I like the
Okay.
challenge. I like the
Game
challenge.
on.
And yeah, game on. Right, exactly. Like, hey, you might not be able to do that, but we will definitely do it. And I bet we get to 5,000 before we know it. But we had to get the foundation first. So the challenge now is, and we're working on it, and I think we have a good system for it, is to replicate what we're doing here in Cincinnati, which is our main office, in a lot of other cities. So we're working now, we're going to work the region. We got an office in Indianapolis, that'll be next. Columbus will be on the horizon. We'll probably serve Louisville and Lexington from this office, or maybe we put boots on the ground there. But the challenge is going to be, okay, so now we've had basically Cincinnati and Phoenix as our main two offices, and then sales offices in Indy and Dallas. But I'd like to see us in a dozen or more cities. I think we've got a good enough offering to come in and make an impact. We don't need to be in New York, but we could be in Columbus. We could be we're already in Indianapolis, but Nashville, those types of markets, I think we could dominate. So it'll be a challenge, but I think it'll be fun, and we've got the crew for it. So I'm pumped. And I can't wait to
I
go back to
love.
my friend and say, yeah, well, now we have 10,000 clients. So what do you say about that?
I love that.
Mhm.
A very driven vision. You even got locations in mind. I'm curious. As you look right now, what do you feel like is preventing you from getting there to that 5 or 10,000?
I
Is
need
there
the right
something?
I need the right people. So we've been really careful with that. So I saw Richard Farmer give his last speech before he passed away. He was the dude that started Cintas. And he said the best advice he could give is hire character, trained skill. It's always resonated with me. That was probably 15 years ago that I saw him say that. But so we are actively looking in Columbus and Indy for a business development representative, but that person will not be managed aside from performance. Our folks will be available. We need people who are going to go out there and crush it, and they can manage their own schedule because they're not punching a time clock. They want to, you know, take the day off and go watch their kid play soccer or take their kid to the museum. Like I want them to do that. So it does take a unique person, and the biggest challenge I'm finding is, I know a lot of people. I grew up in Cincinnati, so I can reach out to my network. I don't really have that network in Columbus. So trying to find the person that could build and develop that office in those other cities will be a little challenging. But I found a lot of our good folks at CrossFit gyms, believe it or not. Uh, so maybe I need to start going doing CrossFit in Columbus or Indianapolis. But that kind of attitude, that like, it doesn't have to be CrossFit, but like someone who likes to like a marathoner or someone who is like a college athlete, like that kind of attitude of like they want to win every day, like that resonates real good in our corporate culture.
Love it. Yeah. The dedication, willing to do hard things kind of stuff, right?
And enjoying it, like enjoying the grind.
So,
And it's
well,
not that much of a grind, but if somebody can train up and go run 26.2 miles or whatever it is, well, selling websites is a snap, you know?
so I'm curious, other keys you just talked about recruiting and CrossFitters, right? Because of that spirit and like I said, hire for character. I'm curious, what have been your other keys to then not only finding that talent, but keeping them engaged and them growing within the organization over that time? You talked
Yeah,
already
great
about
question.
flexibility. Anything else?
Yeah, so flexibility is big. You know, we have always done unlimited vacation, even before it was cool. I think Zappos was the one that mainstreamed that. But everything's managed in metrics. So if somebody can get their metrics and they work an hour a week, I got no problem with it. So I think that flexibility is important. And luckily, we're not, you can't do that if you're a retail store, but we can. But the type of person, like let's say outside of business development, the type of person who would work, on our help desk, they might never get a day off. So they might log into their email Saturday morning and take care of a few tickets and work for an hour on a Saturday, but then they're in Europe the next week. But they might check their email, so that kind of attitude. It's just and there's plenty of people like that, especially now, like the younger generation, younger than my generation. They grew up with remote work. Like I think you and I are probably about the same, but we didn't. That was not even a thing back in the day. But yeah, that's kind of what we look for. It's easier and easier to find these days, I think.
Okay. So thanks for sharing the multiple insights around that vital topic, team.
Sure.
So as you look back, 23 years in, we got a lot of entrepreneurs who are kind of newer in their journey, who tend to watch this series. Here's as you look back and say, boy, uh, I wish I knew that then that I know now. What would that be?
Mm. So I would say that the biggest realization is a bit embarrassing, is that the barriers that I found were mainly self-created. And I'll give you an example. So we used to bill when we do a project, we would do 50% down and then 50% before the website launched. And there's effort in collecting that second down payment, right? There's also our policy was we're not going to launch the website until it's paid. And so we would have to wait. The client wants to launch the website. They're like, we cut a check Friday, and we'd be like, well, we got to wait till we get it Monday to launch the site. It created unnecessary conflict. To be honest, we would usually just launch it and trust that they would pay us, and then they always did. But I said, oh, a client will never pay 100% up front. Well, now we bill 100% up front, and no one has a problem with that because they've usually been referred to us. They trust us. We have a good story to tell. They know we're not going to screw them over. But my point is, my brain said no one will ever do that, but I never tested it. So what I would say is, um, if I was getting what I would have I would have this it sounds stupid. I would have jumped in harder on things like that. Like I would have taken more risks, and tried it. You can always go back to the old way, things like that. Or I remember saying like, oh, there's no way we could get a deal a week. We could never get an engagement a week. That'd be four a month. Now we do like sometimes 20 projects a month. But I said we couldn't, and guess what? Back then we weren't. So what do they say? Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. There's something
Right.
like that. Like my mental blocks were bigger roadblocks than actual roadblocks. That would be my advice. Is like there's a lot of books I've read on that. But The Obstacle is the Way is a really good one by Ryan Holiday. But
Right.
yeah,
Holiday.
that
Yep.
would be it.
So, hey, Dave, our time flies in these
Yeah.
conversations. In fact, what are the best ways for folks to reach out, learn more about
Yeah,
AI
yeah.
software, or to connect with you in the business?
Will they see my name on the Zoom? It's I'm an easy guy to find. If it's Dave Ebbesmeyer, it's me. There's no others, which a lot of people would say is a very good thing. But I'm just Dave
That's
at aisoftware.us. Anybody we give free evaluations. I love chatting to anybody. I connect people all the time. I'm available. And then aisoftwareinc.com is our website. You can get a hold of us there. And we have a pretty good LinkedIn presence. Some of the folks on our team do a killer job of keeping relevant information up there. We publish the websites we launch unless we have an NDA. So we're very happy to share. We like to promote our clients. We feel like we're doing a really good job for them. So they're not in danger of being poached. But yeah, LinkedIn's a great place to find me or any of the crew.
And to our viewers, all that information is there in the show notes. And I'd encourage everybody go check out their website because they really do have just a great menu of client examples that span across countless industries. So you can see
Yeah,
their
we,
great work on display.
we got a great crew, man.
So, Dave, as we wrap up, you got several inspiring messages here to other entrepreneurs. I'm curious, what are you inspired by today?
Oh, my Call of Duty kill death ratio. No, I'm kidding.
That's,
Today I got
you
I
are
in
metric driven. You talked
I
about
think I told you, yeah, I'm a Call of Duty nerd, man. I gotta get rid of it. It's bad. But no, so today I started my Monday and I had two messages from clients who we just engaged who were like, I and one of them was tough. One of them was like not into what we do, and they were both of these clients were like, "Holy cow, we went through your process. This is unbelievable. I couldn't be happier." I love it when they call out our guys and gals like like, "Hey, I worked with Sterling on this. I worked with Jeff on this." Like, so that Mondays can be a little hairy for me sometimes. And boy, that was really nice. It was like the first two messages I read were like, "Hey, just wanted to let you know, website launch went great. I can't believe how fast you guys are." Like that kind of stuff. I love that. We have an internal tagline. Our tagline is "We landscape your web presence," but here internally it's "Everybody wins," and we have a poster that's "Everybody wins," the client, the team, and then ownership. And that's the order it has to be to work, right? The client has to win, or we don't have any money. The team has to win, or we don't have any products. And if there's anything left over, ownership wins. So, kind of like that framing that we keep in mind is like, and it keeps us, hey, if you get an email at 7 o'clock at night and you got time to respond to it, respond to it. Actually, one of the emails I saw this morning called that out. I was like, man, when do you guys sleep? I'm like, I go to sleep at 8, but luckily other people are out there. But yeah, it's great to know that these clients are taken care of. I run into them around town all the time, and it's the same story. And it's really, really awesome. It really awesome that we're helping so many different businesses I never thought would give us a shot. It's cool.
Dave Ebbesmeyer, AI software. Thank you for joining us on the series. So many
My
great
pleasure.
points today. Encourage viewers, you may want to rewind to parts and rewatch parts of this to take even notes you might have missed. So several great insights here. So thank you for sharing the story.
Love it, man. Thanks for having me, Todd. Do it anytime you want, man.
Likewise. And to our viewers, we're thrilled to have you join us. Again, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. And we appreciate it. You hit the like button. That helps us feed the algorithms and to get the message spread out more broadly as well. And with that, hope you all have a terrific day. Thank you.